Hi, I'm Bill Hall from a zoo restaurant in Mystic, Connecticut. I'm the executive chef and co-owner, and today we're making lobster, macaroni, and cheese. The first step is melting butter, and we also added in just a pinch of fresh chopped garlic in there. We don't want to brown the butter, we're just going to melt the butter slow. Now, the lobster's already been blanched and refreshed, so it's already actually cooked. We're just going to coat it in the butter and then build the rest of our sauce. Now we're going to add our lobster meat. And the idea here is just enough butter to coat the bottom. You can see that there's not a lot of extra fat or butter in this at all. So it's the flavor of the butter and just enough to coat the lobster. Now we're going to add the heavy cream. We're just using 2 cups of heavy cream, and we're only reducing it by 1/3. So we're going to bring it up to temperature and slowly bring it down. Whenever you put a cheese into a hot liquid, the secret is to let it sit on top and melt slowly on its own. Any kind of stirring rapidly can cause the sauce to actually break and the fat can separate. Okay, now that's perfect. Now we're actually going to turn the heat down completely, and we're going to put our cheese on there, and we're just going to let it kind of sit on top for a minute. The cheese will melt on its own into the hot liquid, and this is actually going to thicken the sauce on its own when we bring it back up to temperature. So it's very simple. So it just sits here for a minute. And while this is going, we're going to drop our pasta. So we're putting our blanched pasta, which means it's pasta that's already been cooked and cooled down to room temperature and tossed with a little bit of olive oil just to keep it from sticking together. We don't run water under our pasta after we cook it because it takes runs the starch off the pasta, and that's a lot of the flavor in the dish. And now we're going to turn our heat back on low. We're going to add a teaspoon of grated Romano cheese. We're going to drain our pasta really well because we don't want any of the blanching water, the salted water, to get in there. Okay, now we're going to add that, and we're going to toss that around. And you can see how gooey the cheese is in that sauce. So this is not really heavy. And the cheese is completely melted in there. Now as soon as this comes up to temperature, we're going to put it into an oven-proof dish. Okay, we're going to finish up with a little bit of our breadcrumbs, seasoned with a little bit of Italian parsley, and we're going to put that in our broiler for a minute, just to let it brown for a minute. And when you put it in the oven, it just gets all bubbly, and the cheese and the lobster and the breadcrumbs brown just a little bit. It's really, really simple and absolutely delicious. And here we go. Lobster mac and cheese from a zoo restaurant in Mystic. Thank you so much.